Konami held a Suikoden Live Broadcast yesterday with a heavy focus on Starleap. During the broadcast, they provided some new information on the anime, the recent patch for the 1 and 2 HD Remaster, the announcement of the 1 and 2 HD Remaster for the Nintendo Switch 2, and they provided many new details about Starleap. They also discussed some of the casting for the stage play of Suikoden 1, but that doesn't really concern us as that won't ever happen outside of Japan. Apologies for the delay in getting this video up, by the way. I was waiting to see if they held any interviews with Japanese gaming sites and released any additional information just like they did after the previous Suikoden Live broadcast. Unfortunately, they didn't. Anyway, as always, let's not waste time and jump right into it. The show started with Suikoden producer Rui Naito announcing that the anime is going to finish the story of Ryu and Joey, and that it will be more than one season long. He didn't go into any more detail than that, so let's let speculation run wild. Interesting wording how he said it will finish the story of Ryu and Joey. Will Season 1 cover up to the events of Luca's death? Will Season 2 cover the fall of Highland and conclude with a few episodes of the aftermath of Ryu, Joey and Nanami's adventures, which we got a tiny glimpse of in Suikoden Volume 2? Or will there be a full season of the trio's adventures after the war? Time will tell, but now I'm even more excited than ever for the anime. They also revealed that the anime would be showcased at the Anime Expo, which is being held between the 3rd to the 6th of July in the US. The Suikoden anime being at this show pretty much confirms that it will be getting an international release, and we can expect more details to be revealed about it during the expo. Director Tatsuya Oguchi then appeared on screen to talk about the recent patch for the 1 and 2 HD Remaster, which I already covered in my previous video. It basically fixed some bugs, crashes, freezes, and translation issues. He then announced the Switch 2 version of the 1 and 2 HD Remaster, which I also covered in my previous video. It's basically the Switch 1 version of the game with better FPS and resolutions. They revealed that the physical Switch 2 version will only be available in certain regions, including Japan, though it's not really a physical version as it's already been confirmed by PlayAsia that it's a game key card, which basically means that it's an empty cartridge that requires you to download the full game. It's a fake physical. Next up was the Starleap news, and this is what you're here for. Starleap producer Shinya Fujimatsu appeared on screen and revealed many new details about the upcoming game. They played a story trailer for Starleap, and the trailer confirms that the game takes place in the solar year 453, which many of us already suspected based on information previously revealed. However, it appears that every single one of us were wrong about the location of the hero's home village, and I think that's largely because of the poor description we were initially given that said east to the Scarlet Moon Empire, which can be interpreted in a number of different ways and made it sound like it was east of the nation. It turns out the village is not east of the Scarlet Moon Empire, it's not in Konokan or anywhere else that we suspected. The village is actually in the northeastern corner of the Scarlet Moon Empire, just over Mount Seifu along the coast. The trailer showed the wedding of Odessa and Achilles in a church in Gregminster, and it appears that Chapter 1 of the game is going to cover much of Odessa's past and the formation of the Liberation Army. For those that aren't aware of Odessa's past or the lore, you might want to skip ahead a minute as I'm going to get into spoiler territory here. So for those that want to avoid story spoilers, I'll have a timestamp to skip ahead. As a member of the Silverberg family, Odessa was a typical noble who grew up and lived in Gregminster in a life of privilege. She met and fell in love with a fellow noble called Achilles, who was involved in an anti-imperial movement. Achilles opened Odessa's eyes up to the corruption that was plaguing the empire and the suffering of the people. The two would eventually become engaged and take in a young war orphan called Michael. But before the wedding could take place, Achilles was arrested on trumped-up charges by Kraze, who you all remember as the commander of the Imperial Guard from Suikoden 1. Achilles was then sentenced to death for treason, but as a noble, he was entitled to his last rites, a final request, which Odessa convinced him to use to marry her, but the wedding was a ploy for her to attempt to break him out of custody and escape. Unfortunately, Achilles was killed during the escape. It seems Chapter 1 is going to cover her past with Achilles, his arrest, their marriage, her attempt to rescue him from his execution, how she met Humphrey, Flick and Victor and formed the Liberation Army. Whether the game will stick 100% to that lore or if they'll alter anything, I don't know, but they insist they don't plan on retconning anything. At some point during the story, Odessa and the main character's stories intersect. They won't become permanent allies, but for a time, which is the duration of Chapter 1, their interests will align. The trailer also revealed a bunch of new characters as well as some information about old characters. We got our first official look at Ran, Rin, and Ten, which pretty much confirms all of the information that came out of the Metro Berry concert from earlier this month. They'll first be encountered as a boss battle before apparently becoming recruitable characters later. There were 5 new named characters revealed. The first was Yua. She's the younger sister of the main character, and the ending of the trailer teased the return of the cooking minigame with Yua as the chef. This is certainly going to excite many people, as Suikoden 2's cooking minigame is beloved by a large portion of the fanbase. The next new Star of Destiny they revealed is Orhan. He's a childhood friend of the main character's father, and he's the father of Shirin. He runs the village tavern. The next character they revealed is Farah, who works at the local trading store, and it looks like her shop is one of the few to survive the sacking of the village. Next up was Flanagan, who is a powerful village guard. And finally they revealed Stendhal, who is a Rarby, which is a new race being introduced to the series. Stendhal is a tale spinner. He chronicles the story of the main character and he lives in the archive room. They also showed off Odessa, Flick and Victor, giving them small little bios. You may notice that Flick doesn't have his bandana yet. Could it possibly have been a gift to him from Odessa sometime after they grew close? And along with them, Jean has now been confirmed to appear. We already knew she was going to be in it, but now she's confirmed. Leknot and Luke are also confirmed to make an appearance, but the full extent of their appearance we don't know yet. Luke will only be 9 years old in Starleap. If Leknot is sending a 9-year-old Luke into battle, no matter how talented and powerful he is, she may not be the wonderful person people think she is. That'll now make it 3 times she has sent Luke into a war zone. He's 9 in Starleap, he's 11 when Suikoden 1 begins, and he's 14 when the game ends, and he's 17 in Suikoden 2. If his past in Harmonia didn't mess him up enough, Leknot certainly finished the job by sending him into 3 different wars as a child. And lastly, for the name character reveals, something that every single one of us missed, and it's been in front of our very eyes since the initial teaser trailer reveal. George Prime is confirmed to be in the game. The person accompanying the main character and his father after their hunt has been confirmed to be George Prime. The long hair threw us all off and none of us suspected it was George. George previously had a 10-year gap in his timeline between the end of Suikoden 5 and his appearance in Suikoden 2, and now thanks to Starleap we know he has returned to the Scarlet Moon Empire in the solar year 453, the nation where he once served under Barbarossa Rugner in the War of Succession 9 years prior. The trailer also showed off several as of yet unnamed characters, but who will obviously be recruitable Stars of Destiny. As for other information about the game revealed during the broadcast, they announced that every map area in the game will have landmarks. These landmarks will be things like the MacDull Mansion and the Golden Statue Fountain in Gregminster. When you approach these landmarks, you can trigger conversations about them with your party. I love this feature. I think it has the potential to be a fun little lore dump about smaller things in the world. They also revealed that villagers can give us side quests. The one they showed during the broadcast was about hunting furfurs, and it rewarded the player with what looked like friendship points and some kind of crystal or gemstone currency. I'm not entirely sure what it is. The main character's high-speed rune was shown in action, and it allows him to zip through towns at lightning speed like he's the Flash. Stallion would be proud. They also gave a little glimpse of what looks like the blinking mirror. In some other Starleap news that may set many people at ease, Starleap is being written by Kazuyoshi Tsugawa, who many of you may know as the writer of the much beloved Suikoden 5, which is considered by many fans to be right up there next to Suikoden 2 as the best game in the series. He also wrote Tierkreis, which, while a spin-off, is an excellent game, and he also wrote Woven Web of a Century, but we'll forgive him for that because of how great Suikoden 5 and Tierkreis are. Next, they discussed the game's music. They spent over 13 minutes talking about the music, which was a bit unnecessary in my opinion. Not a whole lot of information was revealed during this portion, but it was interesting to listen to. The game's sound creator has been revealed to be Akari Komochi. Basically, she's the supervisor for the audio of the game. She previously worked as the sound designer on the 1 and 2 HD remaster. I know nothing else about her, but based on the music we've heard of Starleap so far, I think the music is in safe hands. They also revealed that Metroberry are responsible for making the orchestral arrangements of the music for Starleap, but I think many of us already suspected that. And lastly was the first time in Suikoden portion of the broadcast. This is a new segment for the purpose of introducing people that are new to the series to the lore. Takahiro Sakiyama appeared on screen with the Suikoden Kiwami Encyclopedia, where he discussed some basics of the solar calendar and how it was formed after the foundation of the Holy Kingdom of Harmonia. That pretty much sums up the broadcast. Many people are concerned about Starleap not getting an international release because all of the promotional material about it so far, like the screenshots, the videos and Twitter posts, have been entirely in Japanese. But you can relax because they immediately updated the English Starleap website to include all of the new character info as soon as the broadcast ended. The fact that there's an English website and they're including English subtitles in these broadcasts pretty much confirms it will be receiving a Western release. Although a release date still hasn't been announced and no other platforms have been announced just yet. It seems like for the moment the game is still only coming to iOS and Android and its release date is still a ways away. Anyway, that's it for this video guys, thanks for watching and I'll catch you on the next one.